It's warm out today. It's almost 70 degrees. I had to take my shirt off. I'm working in the t-shirt here now. Well, the first thing I'm going to do to fix this cancer, this corrosion on this keel strip, is to drill these rivets out. There's corrosion here that might be able to clean that up. I don't know. This is pretty bad here. That's intergranular. It's got down in there pretty good. Hopefully it hasn't got down into the skin underneath. But I've got to drill these rivets out, and I'm going to drill them out back past where I'm going to cut it. So I'll probably cut it off probably close on this seam right here. There's a rib right here, and I'll probably cut it off on this rib and taper this, file it down, and kind of taper the piece so it fits over the top. One fits over the top of the other one. But then I'm going to take a second piece and go ahead and go on back here a little bit farther. Now this is the left float. It doesn't take as much of a beating on the cub as the right float, because the right float is the one we walk on when we go to the beach. We pull it into the beach and we walk on and off of it. So that one kind of takes a beating. So I got to think whether I want to take the time to do anything with that one or not to reinforce it. But I'm going to go ahead and do this one. I can't just have a seam right here. I have to have something over the top of it to reinforce it. So I'm going to go ahead and splice in a good piece here, and then I'll probably go up at least to the next rib with a doubler over that, maybe a little farther than that. Well, the first thing I've got to do is to get these rivets out of here. I've got this tool. I've had it for a long time. I don't know whether I ever used it or not. I might have used it a little bit, but this fits over the rivet head, and it has a drill bit going down in the inside of it there, so you can set this over the rivet head and then push down on the drill bit. Well, that would center that bit on the rivet and drill down through the rivet when you're taking the rivet out. I've been doing this without anything for a long time, but I always miss on a rivet or two. But I can see this, it missed on a rivet here too, but I think that's because that rivet wasn't set properly. This is spring loaded. You've got a numbered drill bit, a number 21 drill bit in there, and then there's a pocket in this that fits over the head of that brazier head rivet. The drill drives the bit, and this is spring loaded, so you can start out with it on here like this, push down on the drill motor, and that didn't work very well. There we go. That centered it like that. I can do almost as well just without anything as I can with that thing on there. But I got a lot of rivets to take out here, so I'm going to take it out, like I said, well beyond where the splice is going to go, because it needs a doubler over the top of it. And then right up here is where it got banged on the inside, and there's a split right here in the skin. I have to put a patch on that too. So I'll just keep doing that. I'm going to get these holes in here like this through the heads of the rivets, and I'm going to do this just like Lane Older, old mechanic, A&P, IA, old instructor at Clover Park Industrial, taught me how to do it. Geez, almost 30 years ago now. Anyway, drill these heads out, drill them down in there, and then take a little chisel and shear these off, and then take a punch and drive them out. I got the holes drilled out, or the rivet heads drilled out, and some of them popped the heads right off of them. Some of them I didn't. So I just take my little cold chisel here, and an old Popular Mechanics magazine I was looking at, they showed to take these chisels and cut a little divot in the center of it so that it would grab around those rivet heads, but I don't think with aluminum rivets it makes that much difference. There we go. So I'll keep doing that with all the rivets, and then take a little punch. May have to drill those out a little bit more. What I'll do now, I'll get this thing loose, and then I'm going to slip a piece of stainless steel or something underneath to use for a shield, and then I'll take a Dremel tool and cut that off and then grind it smooth, and then I'll have to make up a doubler to fit in there, or a piece to fit in there, and a doubler to fit over the top. Well, whatever was in this aft compartment of this float just hammered the crap out of it. There were big dents, divots all over the place, and one here on this side came all the way through the skin. I want to patch this. I want to lay a doubler over that, but I didn't want to do it with those things sticking up. I bought this a few years ago. It's aluminum. I've got 3 of them. I got one with a brass head, this one with aluminum, and I've got one with a UHMW head on it. And I took a body dolly here. This is all flat, so a regular body dolly worked just as well as anything. I put a body dolly in and held on the underside of it, and then just hit that with this thing on there on those high spots. I didn't get them all flattened down. That stretches the crap out of that metal there. As much as those things stuck up protruding, I couldn't have put anything over the top of them like that. Anyway, that's what I did. I got those down now to where I can do something with that and lay a piece over the top of there. I just have to figure out what I'm going to do now as far as a doubler over that. I don't want to go all the way out to the outside edge because it's a real pain getting a bucking bar in here on these outside rivets. Everything was riveted together. The chine on here was riveted on, and then it was put together in one piece on top. So these rivets on the outside here were all riveted on from the outside. That's the way to rebuild these, if you rebuild them, is to pull everything apart like that in one piece, and then you can work on them like that. But we're just doing a small repair here. I'm not going to drill out everything here and take that whole bottom off just to put a patch on there. I'm going to come as far as here. I looked at those other floats to see how far forward it was that the damage was to them from going on and off the beaches, and it was mostly confined to this section here, so there's no point in going all the way up here to cover this whole aft section. But I want to cover where all these divots are in here, because those will eventually crack and come through, a hole come through them, and that's not a very good place to have water leaking in. And I got the little die grinder and a Scotch-Brite type pad and cleaned all of the crap off of this where this joint was, and I got a 3-inch one on a 2-inch disc here, and I was able to get it up underneath there to get that pretty good underneath there. That's one of the problems with not taking this off. And then using the back side of it, there's hardly any abrasive on here, but I put it in underneath and got a lot of the crap off underneath that keel strip there. Well, now I got to lay out how I want my patch to go on there, figure that out. This side here is going to be the outside. I go down to this 3rd rivet here, up from the bottom. I'm going to have to go down to the 4th rivet here, or the 2nd rivet up from the outside edge, I guess, to cover that damage there and taper this in. So, oofda. The other thing that's fun on this is all those rivets have to be, those holes all have to be drilled from the inside. Well, this is about what I've got figured out now. It's probably overkill because I only need that doubler over this section here where that got hammered, but again, that'll help with beaching the airplane, strengthen this tail up quite a bit on this section here that takes a beating when you beach it, when you tail the airplane up on the beach. So anyway, this is what I've got laid out. That gives me my minimum edge distance. I've got number 5 rivets, which are 5/32. The minimum edge distance on that is 5/16. So I've got that laid out in the front. I followed along and trying to follow that on these rivets here to give me that. I may change that just a little bit to make that a little bit smaller. Maybe I'll come up here a little bit more. I'll go get some poster board and start laying this out, a pattern on this out, so that I can lay it out and cut it on the aluminum. Now this is 032, the skin on this is 032. I got 032 that I can put on there to double that with. And then I have to figure out if I want to do that on the other side or not. The other side has some dents and scratches in it, but it's not too bad. But like I said before, the other side there, the right float, is the one that takes the beating on and off and on the beaches, so I don't know whether I want to go to all this work or not to do the other side. So I got a pattern laid out here on poster board, so I can go transfer that up to some aluminum and get it cut out. This is not the easiest thing to lay a pattern out. They don't have any rhyme or reason into the pattern what they put those rivets in there on. The ones on the inside are different than the ones on this side over here, and between rows is different, and it's just it's hard to make a symmetrical pattern there. I've got it jigging and jagging all over the place, but that gives me my edge distance on my outer row of rivets and covers all of the bad stuff. So that'll work. There's my doubler patch cut out and fitted up there, and it fits up pretty close. I never get them to fit up exactly right. Doesn't seem like. I got it over bent a little bit. That's all right. Anyway, that fits up there like that. So now I guess I get to drill out all those rivets.